All right, so we'd like to welcome welterweight prospect with a record of 9-1 with 3 knockouts, Wilson Mascarenhas. Wilson, welcome to the Final Bell.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for having me here, man. It's an opportunity. Thank you.
Absolutely. So Wilson, first of all, I want to congratulate you. I know I heard you re-signed with CES Boxing. This has been your promoter for your whole career so far, and I heard that you're going to be the co-feature on their next show, their next boxing show, March 23rd at the Twin River Casino. How's training going for that? I see that you're training right now.
Training's going great, man. So far this is the best I ever felt. As far as mentally going to a camp, physically ready, because I train out here ready. You know what I mean? So I don't have to get ready, but it's been going so far. It's been going great. We already been locked in. And we're just gonna step it up little by little until we get to March 23rd, and we're gonna get that dub. But as of right now, everything's going great. Thank God, and that's what it is. That's where we at right now.
Awesome. And any word yet on who your opponent is going to be, or is that still being worked on?
I think that's still being worked on. We had found one or two, but so we're still trying to finalize that and see if they willing to accept the fight for March 23rd and see how that goes. But as of right now, nothing locked in yet. So we just made a request, so we'll see how that goes. Hopefully these opponents, they take the fight and we can make something happen.
Awesome. And what caliber of opponent are you hoping for?
You know me, man. I'm always looking forward to fight a good fighter. I'm always looking forward to put on a good show. Give something for the fans to watch. I don't want to go in there and get a knockout. You know what I mean? I want to go in there, show my skills, show my ability, show my heart, show my talent. You know what I mean? Get to showcase that. So I mean, I think my record speaks for itself right now, and I think I could step up, little by little. So, hey, whoever they put in there, I'm more than ready. That's why I stay ready all year round. So, when we get to the fights, we're more than ready for whoever.
Absolutely. So Wilson, you have a really interesting story, and you and I, like I said, we spoke a year ago. Tell us a little bit about your background. I know you were born in Portugal. You came to the U.S. when you were 12 years old and settled in New Bedford. Tell us a little bit about that experience. Did you get some culture shock when you first got here? What was that like?
When I moved over here, I was I was 12 years old. I moved over here, very troubled youth at first, trying to find my way, trying to find what my likes are. And so far, it started a little bit rough at first, not being able to speak the language, so it was a little bit hard, but with through time, I learned, you know what I mean? But my mind was still all over the place. But, and then we got into the gym. I started learning boxing. I started as an amateur. And before you know it, now this is where I am now. But when I first got here, it was definitely a little bit different, culture-wise, race-wise. It was a lot different. It was something very, very different for me. You know what I mean? I didn't expect to be where I am today, but here I am today, and I'm very blessed. I'm excited. I'm thankful. I'm grateful. And, we're going to make something out of this.
The good thing is you moved to New Bedford, right, where there is a sizable Portuguese population, right? So at least hopefully you had some people that some
absolutely. Yeah. It's a melting pot over here. We have the Hispanic, we have the Cape Verdean community, we have the Portuguese community. So, and the best thing, I get to speak all language, and I get to understand, and not only that, I get to work with all cultures. So it's awesome, man. You know what I mean? And New Bedford is a great city to supply supporting wise. We all understand where we're coming from. We're all fighting to get somewhere, and it's a very supportive city, at least for me. I'm speaking for myself, you know what I mean? But it's been great so far.
Something that I find similar to, let's say, Bernard Hopkins, who at his pro debut, he lost his first fight. Kind of same thing that happened to you against a guy named Miguel Ortiz. Talk to me a little bit about that. What do you think went wrong in your debut, and what did it do for the rest of your career?
First and foremost, I would definitely like to say, Miguel Ortiz definitely brought something out of me, that fight was a very interesting fight, and that fight is where it got me to where I am today. Working my ass off, training hard, you know what I mean? Never overlooking an opponent. But I feel like what happened in that first fight is coming where I come from, living in Portugal, born and raised in Portugal, moving here at the age of 12, never thinking I would succeed as much as I did now. It was one of those things where I was excited, man. I was happy to be in that stage. I was excited that my people was there. I was excited that I finally made something of myself. I made it to a professional career, and I was all over the place. You know what I mean? And I guess being all over the place and being that happy and excited and blessed, feeling so overwhelmed is that I didn't pay attention to my opponent, believe it or not. And I didn't have much of a big amateur career. So, those are the things that we learn as amateurs, focus on your opponent. Don't worry about the crowd. Worry about the opponent in front of you. You know what I mean? Those kinds of things. So when I got to the pro, I was so happy, man. Like, I was just like, I don't know, like my excitement was just all over the place. I wasn't really focused on the fight. I was focused on the crowd. Do I look nice? Do I look good? Does this punch look good? And, and then when I lost, it humbled me, even though I've always been humbled, but it humbled me in a way where I need to take it more serious. I need to realize what's in front of me, and that's what I need to focus on. Don't worry about the crowd. Listen to your corner and get the job done. And that's what it is. And that's what it was. I learned from it. I grew from it, and now I'm on my way to be on a 10-0 streak. And like I said, Miguel Ortiz brought something out of me, and I was happy to learn from it. You know what I mean? I didn't take it personal. I sat back and I realized it, and now I just been executing the plan since, working my ass off and just staying focused on the plan that I have in front of me once I get in the ring.
Right, it
And
seemed
Wilson,
like
I guess part of that is that you started late, right? You started at 18, as far as boxing.
Yes. During that time, it's such to say, right? I was a little bit street involved, just fighting here, just doing nonsense, just doing nonsense. And I was trying to find my niche. I was trying to find my own path, my own road to get into. And I always liked fighting, not so much, to pick on people, not so much to fight in the streets, but it was more like I like the sport of combat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I did wrestling, I did Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I did all kinds of combat sports. So then I was just like, boxing is the only thing that I haven't learned. So let me walk in the boxing gym and let me see what's it about. So I went to a boxing gym at the age of 18, started as an amateur. When I first walked into the boxing gym, it was just supposed to be a keep me occupied thing, keep me out the way, keep me out the streets, right? So as I kept going, I kept learning, I kept executing the plans, and I started traveling for sparring, and then I started doing amateur fights, and then as I learned, right, I just kept on going. I love the whole thing of you never, how can I say it? You never learn enough in the sport of boxing. You always learn, and so that's what it was. It caught my mind that I'm always learning, I'm always evolving. So before I knew it, I was just like, you know what? Let me keep on trying this. Let me see how far it's gonna take me. So then I started doing the amateurs, and then so far, one day I was just like, I think it's time for me to go pro, and let me see what God has for me, man. Let's just try it out. I'm willing to give it my all. At the time I was still in school, but at the time I was still in school, you know what I mean? So I was in college. I was also working construction. And then it was a lot to juggle, man. It was a lot to juggle because I at that time I wanted everything. I just wanted to succeed some way, somehow. But I just didn't know how. But then again, what I was doing, it was very hard. Working construction. I was doing concrete while I was still attending Bridgewater, and it was just so hard to juggle. And then one night I was just like, I need to try something. I want to do something that I love. Let me move forward with boxing. I know this building is still going to be here for another 20 years, but I'm never going to be 20 years for the rest of my life.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yep. So I was just like, let me just try this. Let me see how far it gets me. And if it doesn't get me far, I'll just go back to school. But if it does, it does. If it doesn't, at least I tried, and I got to live a life that I wanted to for a little bit. And now we're here, man, It's exciting.
Sorry, I was
Yeah, I
muted.
can't hear.
Frank, we can't
No,
hear.
it's all
There you
good.
go.
I was trying to block some outside noise. Yeah. My question is boxing is this your full-time gig now? I mean, are you doing anything outside of this as far as work, or you just fight? You know,
However, we're working, Francisco, we're working to get there, as I tell everybody, I don't like to fake my lifestyle, because I'm a behaviorist. I work with the community. I work in the school department. So this is what I tell the kids all the time, um, sometimes in order to get to where you need to get to, you still got to grind somewhere else. And, and that's what makes them, I feel like, believe in me a little bit more. Cause it's like, I'm still working my 9 to 5, but I'm still trying to make my dreams work outside of my 9 to 5. So I'm not there yet. I'm hoping to get there. Well, I have faith that I'll get there one day. But as of right now, boxing is not my full time, but the way I do it, it's almost like my full time because I put my all into it no matter what. Being a dad, being a professional athlete, and still being a behavior specialist for the youth.
gotcha.
So Wilson, take us through your schedule. Like, what does it look like for you then? Your work
So,
day, and then obviously right now it's Friday night, and you're working out while doing an interview. Walk us through your day.
So my day pretty much starts. I'm training at least Monday through Saturday. Monday through Friday, I'm working. At least 7:45 to 2:45. Once I get out of there, I go home. Check on my, be with my family for a little bit till 4 o'clock. From 4 o'clock, I leave. I go do my strength and condition from 4 to 5, and then from 5 to maybe 6, I'm doing boxing drills. Doing the techniques of boxing, and then from there, I go to the sauna steam room just to relax my body, relax my muscles. And then I go home about 8 o'clock, have dinner, relax for a little bit. And then next day, the same thing. The only thing that changes is sparring to strengthen the condition.
Real.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you're grinding, man. Great example to the kids for sure about what you need to do to make it where you want to be. And one thing that one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about, and I know it's probably a little bit tough to talk about, is this dream almost ended, right? Just a year and 2 years ago, right? And it was after a really good moment for you where you won a fight. Everyone's there to see you. Everyone wants to celebrate. Tell us what you remember about that night. Walk us through that night, like for the good and the bad.
What I remember about that night is that I won. It was March 26th, 2022. I fought at the Crown Plaza in Rhode Island. I fought against a really tough opponent. We went all 6 rounds. I got to beat this tough opponent, unanimous decision. I was really, really happy with the decision. I was happy with my performance. I was at the highest of the highest of my life at that moment. I felt great. I put on a great performance. My people loved it. The city came out to support. And, and later on that night, I decided to go celebrate. I was supposed to celebrate in Providence, but instead I was like, I'm going back to my hometown and go celebrate with my people. And, as I get to New Bedford, I go to where we went to go celebrate. That's when I was stabbed 4 times from in my back, my head, my neck, my shoulders, and my head. And at that moment, it was more like, it's one of those things, right? It's hard to even explain because, I feel like I went from living to the highest point, from the highest point of my life to my lowest point of my life, to fighting for my life, right? And, it was all, and from there, I was able to learn that, we got to live to the fullest. We got to make our dreams come true. We got to be able to work our asses off and get to where we need to get to because we never know when is our last day. And, and that's just how I felt, man. It was just crazy. But from there, I was able to learn a lot, And one thing is about me, man, I don't quit. I'm reading this book right now. It's called The Power of the Subconscious Mind. And, your subconscious mind has a lot of power. And then I never knew that that's what I was using during that time in order for me to get back to where I am today. After that incident, now I'm back 4 fights later. No, 3 fights later. This is going to be my 4th fight. since the incident. I feel strong. I feel great. I'm more mentally ready than anything than I thought I was before. And I feel like this was just another battle for me to get through to really know who I really am. Even though I really already knew who I was, but I was able to unlock a different me inside of me. It was like a me versus me kind of thing, you know. Kept talking to myself, and I did therapy from 2022 to 2023. I'm still doing therapy. I have a great team behind me, great therapist that's been helping me, that's been getting me ready for every fight whenever I need it. And I'm just happy to be where I am, man. I'm thankful, and that's what it is. That's what it is, Mariano. I'm here. I'm here, and like I said, I'm not. I battled with something that it was easy for anyone to quit.
Oh yeah,
right?
for sure. I mean, the
But I
extent of
just,
those injuries it was life threatening, wasn't
what I
it?
mean?
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. And to be who I am today, it let me know who I really am, and I'm in this sport to stay, unless I don't want to stay. But
Yeah.
as long as I want to be here, I'm gonna be here.
No, and the last time we spoke was right before your first fight back,
Yeah.
against Benjamin Lamptey. What was that experience like? What was it like to be back in the ring? Were you a little bit nervous about, like, am I going to react the way I want to react physically?
First of all, let's give a shout out to that opponent. He was great. I didn't think he was gonna come and put on the work and put in the work the way that he did. I thought I was gonna get in there and walk him down, but I was there the whole night with him. But like I told you, right? That's the fight that I wanted. I wanted a fight like that, right? Because I wanted to prove something to myself. Because it was a me versus me, right? I didn't want to go back. I didn't want to come back to the sport and make it and fight an easy fight. No, I wanted to fight a hard fight to let me know that I'm here and I'm here to stay and I'm here to work. And that's just what it is. And I made it look easy, but it wasn't easy. Mentally, I was going through it. Physically, I was going through it. Spiritually, I was going through it, but I still didn't let that stop me because I knew what my goal is. I knew what I wanted to accomplish. And that's what I was working towards, and it was the win. And to keep moving forward and keep pushing, no matter those injuries, because everything is just mental.
Yeah. And I did notice your performance was sort of even elevated in your next fight against Anthony Mora, at the Mohegan Sun Arena, where you blew him out in 3 rounds, and he was undefeated at the time you met him. Do you feel much more comfortable now, like now that you have 3 fights under your belt since the injury?
No, absolutely, because every fight I'm getting better. Every fight, I'm feeling my injury less than before. I'm able to do more right fights. Like, maybe my right hand is coming out a lot faster than I expected before, opposed to when I fought Benjamin, right? So now I feel like that rust that I took off that whole year is off. So now it's like I just want to have no excuses. I don't want to ever feel and say it's because of this, it's because of that. No, because that's over. That's the past. We're moving forward. This is where we are now. This is where we're going to continue moving forward, and we're going to stay in this path. We're going to work hard, and we're just going to keep on blowing them out the water.
So now let's talk about 2024 in the future, right? That's enough about the past. And look, the past has shown, like, your mental strength. The fact that you didn't give up a couple of times, like we talked about losing your pro debut. We talked about coming back from a life-threatening injury. Tell us more now about this year. So you re-signed now with CES Boxing, which is great. What do you expect from them this year? What would you like for them to do for you?
First and foremost, I want to give a big shout out to CES Boxing, a big shout out to Jimmy Bridgefield for even giving me the opportunity again. Because as you know, right, the sport of boxing is a business, and after sustaining injuries like that, and after having my character being assassinated a little bit, thinking it was gang involvement for me being stabbed, I got to thank CS and Jimmy Bridgefield for giving me another opportunity, man. But moving forward, 2024, I think it's gonna be bright. I think it's gonna be great. for LL and CS, because I think now we're locked in, and I feel like we're gonna have great fights coming up. And that's the goal. Stay busy, keep fighting, keep punching, and keep on climbing and keep on ranking up.
How many times do you want to come out this year?
At least two after this fight, at least 2 to 3 more times. We'll see how that goes, and
yeah, that's a good rate, right?
Maybe end the year with a 8 round. Right? Yeah, absolutely. As of right now, I'm doing 6 rounds, and maybe step up to 8 rounds, right? Once we step up to 8 rounds, then we'll figure that out. But as of right now, 2 to 3 more fights. Because last year I did 3. I want to have at least 4 on the go.
Yeah, no, that would be great activity. You know, one of the things Francisco and I always talk about is how inactivity is hurting a lot of these fighters. Just the fact that they look rusty when they go in there, and in fact, someone like Teofimo Lopez from last night, we were just recapping that fight. Teofimo Lopez had that huge win against Josh Taylor, and then he didn't fight after that big win, right? That was in June of last year, right? Yeah, almost a whole year. First of all, what were your thoughts on last night's fight? Did you get a chance to score it or no, or did you just kind of sort of like the eye test as far as who you thought won?
I pretty much, I didn't score it, but I let my eyes do the judging, right? I didn't listen to the commentators. I was looking at the fight, and the way I looked at the fight, yeah, maybe Teofimo was the pressure fighter, but the way I looked at it, Jamaine won. That's it.
That's what we thought too.
I don't think I'm gonna sit here and I don't think there's no need for explanation. I feel like everybody saw it, right? Yep. Everybody saw it, you know what I mean? We saw that Jamaine was on the move, he was sticking and moving, he wasn't getting too many he wasn't getting hit too much. And he worked out a great game plan that him and his team had, and he executed the plan. Yep. And I also feel like he exposed Teo a little bit. Teo wasn't able to cut the ring, and like I said, man, I think that belt, the world championship, should have been brought to Massachusetts.
Absolutely, that's why I wanted to ask you, because Massachusetts has a couple of guys now that and thanks to Jimmy, really, I feel like he's keeping boxing alive in New England. And right now the leader of the pack is Jamaine, and it's just so tough to see a guy who put so much into it not get the decision, right? That was really tough. But one of the things Francisco and I were talking about how it is. But one of the things we were talking about is how Jamaine seemed to dictate when and where that fight was going to happen, right? Like, he was dictating distance. He when Teofimo would wave him in, he would oblige, and he would land his shots, right? Teofimo never really landed anything of consequence. It's just a shame, and some of those scores were wide. One of them was like 117, 111.
117 to 111? That's crazy. Come on, man, like that.
Crazy.
I think that was
kind of
crazy.
Fight.
Hey, if they gave them a draw, I'd be like, all right, cool. That's if you didn't want to give the fight fully to Jamaine, give him a draw. Give him a draw, right?
Yeah.
But to say that he lost 117 to 111, what fight was you watching?
Yeah.
What fight was you watching? And then and at the end of the day, that kind of discourages the other fighters that's working their ass off to get to the top, and then to get something taken from them like that, man. You know what I mean?
It's all the work for him, for his team, for his future, right? This is the second close fight that he doesn't go his way. But look, he did prove to me and to the world, I think, that he's a world-class fighter. He deserves another chance. The thing is, so many of these titles are tied up, right? And so today they announced Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia are going to be fighting. So, it's more about, like, when is that next opportunity going to come?
To be honest, I think it's gonna come again really fast. You can't deny greatness. You can't deny what God gave you, right? And I feel like once God gives you something, I feel like sooner or later, everybody's gonna get to witness. Like yesterday, everybody got to witness something great. Everybody got to witness an underdog being able to come out on top, but it wasn't accepted. but the world still got to see the greatness and the talent of this young kid, right? And to be taken away from him, it sucks. Maybe they took it away from him because he's young and they want to build him up later. I don't know, right? Or maybe they want to make better fights in the future. I don't know. Maybe they want to be able to make a rematch out of this. I don't know. But the way they took it from him, I don't know. It's tough, man. It sucks. But
What are your thoughts, you know, with all the politics that are happening in boxing, you know, especially last night that we saw that it was kind of politics that kind of, you know, took this fight from this kid. I mean, we knew that Teofimo was the A side fighter. He was the
fighter,
on the
right?
show. And we saw a guy just neutralize his game plan and still came up, you know, unsuccessful. So
On top.
thoughts about that, being that the state of boxing is today with all this that's going on?
Like I said, man, like I said, Francisco, I feel like it discourages other boxers coming up that's working their ass off to become a world champion or to even have the shot to be top ranked and being able to fight one of those top guys that's already up there if you're coming up from the bottom, right? It's like, all right, how am I positively sure that when I get to the top, even though I know I beat them, that they're still gonna give it to me? Right? That kind of frustrates you. Because now it got me thinking, all right, so if I get a chance to fight for a world championship belt, I gotta go in there and knock them out. Whoever it is, that's the only way they're gonna feel me. That's the only way they're gonna give me a win. You know what I mean? Why and it sucks, man. Like I said, it just makes other fighters feel some type of way. Because that could have been me, that could have been Joe or whoever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We got robbed.
Right.
And I don't want to sound biased, and I don't want to sound like, oh, because I'm from Mass, I wanted my Mass brother to win. Nah, man, I feel like what's fair is fair. You know what I mean? If Tio got beat, that's what it is.
Yeah,
Work harder next time.
you could tell by the reaction that a lot of other people thought. I don't know if you watched the telecast afterwards, but these guys were arguing amongst each other. Tim Bradley seemed to be pissed off.
Right.
He was
You know
sitting
what I mean?
there rigid. He wasn't even trying to.
No, really, man, because and it's crazy, right? Because I feel like Bradley was pissed off because he was a fighter before, and he knows what it takes. He knows what it takes, and not for nothing, I think even Bradley was probably robbed a couple times in his career, if I'm not mistaken, right? So he knows the frustration behind it when you put in the work, when you're talking highly of somebody else, and then.
So, if you remember that, and he talked about the backlash he got for that win. It actually
on the show,
actually, he told us he mentally broke down from all the negative feedback he got from it. So winning that fight was actually not
a good thing, right? Because think about it, right? It's like think about, I don't know, a quick example. I guess think about when you cheat on something and you win. Are you gonna feel good about it? You're gonna feel guilty, man. Knowing damn well you didn't do everything that you could to win, and then they still give it to you. Like, I'll take it, but I don't know, man. If you're really a true person to yourself,
you know,
right? You're gonna feel that.
You got me thinking of something that we always talk about. But you talk about cheating, right? You know, we know that athletes have been busted for peds. And we know that, you know, it's like a snake in the grass sport. We don't know what athletes or not. And when they do test positive, they kind of get it like a pat in the back. Some other fighters don't. But what are your thoughts about that? What are your thoughts now that you're moving up and you're going to be fighting better fighters? Fighters, you know, possibly being on some sort of substance in the upper, you know, in the upper echelon.
It sucks, man. It sucks because you got fighters like me that's putting in work every day. Man, I can be tested any day of the week. You know what I mean? And here, go ahead, do whatever you need to do, right? But it's also like, it sucks, man, because you got fighters that's putting in real work, and then you got fighters that's out here cheating to win. That's not fair, man. How do you live with yourself? How do you live with yourself? Are you being true to yourself?
Right.
You know what I mean? Are you being true to whatever you believe in? You know, when we started the sport, I said I'm gonna give it my all and I'm gonna be true to it, right? And if I know I'm not gonna give it my all, I'm not even gonna entertain it. And that's how I feel like, you know, if I'm here today, it's because I'm willing to give it my all and give it 100%, everything natural, everything from the muscle, you know. And I don't respect that. I don't, because I feel like that's not fair, you know, especially when you find
People
somebody that's
speculate
very
that it's
natural.
a hard, right? And no, and people speculate that it's actually a high percentage of fighters that are in one way or another, you know, taking some kind of performance
You know,
enhancing
it's
drug.
crazy
It's
because you guys
insane.
just asked me that. You know, it's crazy. You guys just asked me that, and I never thought so deep into it because I be so focused on myself and what I do and how I go about my training in my camp or my team that I never sat back and got to think about other fighters that do this. Because me in my mind, I'm like, I'm so mentally strong and so physically strong that even if a fighter's doing that, I won't care. Right? But obviously, if
Yeah.
something goes wrong, you're gonna want to test it out and see what the hell, like, why this shit go sideways, you know? But when you're so focused and you're so natural to what you do, you don't care about what other fighters is doing. But obviously, but when it comes down to a fight, to a real fight that means, I mean, every fight means something, but it's just I can't speak for nobody else, but I can speak for myself, man. I don't respect that. I don't think that's real. I don't think that's sportsmanship. I don't think I don't think that fighters that do that, I don't think they have enough respect for themselves or enough respect for the sport or any sport that they do
Or
and that they
conscience, right?
learn
Like
that they have to do
just
something like that.
like a, yeah, yeah. Or even like a conscience, because in, you know, while we talked about this the other day, while in baseball or basketball, maybe, yeah, it's going to affect the game, but no one's going to get hurt. In boxing or MMA or even football,
Lives
someone's going
get,
to get hurt. Someone could actually lose their life over it. Yeah.
yeah,
Right,
lives get behind this.
100%.
Crazy.
That's like why do that? Why do that? You know what I mean? And then you know, you've been blessed with the opportunity to live that lifestyle of a pro athlete. You know how many of us coming where I come from want to be pro athletes and willing to do everything that it takes to be in that stage or in that to be in that platform, right?
Yeah.
You to just fuck it. I'm just gonna shoot this or I'm just gonna take this to be stronger. Well, you don't believe in yourself enough? Lack confidence?
Exactly.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm just speaking, right? That I don't know, man. But for me personally, guys, that's not something I respect, man. I don't think that's very professional.
Yeah.
So, being that when you got into the sport of boxing, right? Were there any fighters that you looked up to growing up? Like any fighters that you kind of emulated that got you motivated
You know, it's
in the
good.
sport of boxing?
Yeah, 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 man. Like, I definitely, I started boxing kind of late, so I was never too much into the old school boxing. But when I first started, I was a lot into like Floyd, obviously, Roy Jones, Pernell Whitaker, uh, um, because of their styles, how they fought. You're right. Uh, being an all around fighter, I like the all around fighters, man. That can do everything. And those were the guys that I used to always look, always on YouTube, just whatever, just watching highlights. Oh, wow, I like that. You know what I mean? Like, and those were probably the main three guys that I was always on. But now I probably look at every fighter because every fighter got something to give. You know what I mean? So, but those were the main ones.
Okay. Now,
Well,
something
look,
that
Wilson,
me and Mariano talked about too is about weight, right? We always talk about fighters, you know, who've had issues with weight. You know, we've seen fighters not being able to make weight in certain fights.
Yep.
But for you, do you watch your weight after fights? Do you watch how much weight you put on after a fight? Do you cut a lot of
Yeah.
weight between fights?
Yeah. Absolutely. No, absolutely. And that's why I start. And that's why I stay active. I stay ready, so I don't have to get ready. So I don't have to cut much weight. So I don't have to start all over again. Um, do I watch my weight? Yeah, a little bit, obviously. But there's some days, right, that I just go crazy with the eating. But the next day I'm stressing. All right, maybe today I shouldn't eat. Maybe today I'll just fast. You know what I mean? Because even when I'm not in camp, I try to fast every Wednesday. You know what I mean? Every Wednesday, I try to do a quick 24-hour fast. Just to clean the body, just to cleanse the body. But I try my best to live this boxing lifestyle because if you fall off, it's kind of hard to get back on track. And thank God, since I started, I never fell off track yet. Knock on wood, and I don't plan on it, right? But talking about weight, I remember my very first fight against Miguel Ortiz. I didn't make weight. I lost the fight. I got dropped. I got an 8-second count. I got a cut. Anything that you can probably imagine in the sport of boxing, in the ring to happen, I feel like it happened to me in that very first fight. So I feel like that's why I'm very disciplined and very professional to a certain degree now, right? Because it was kind of, I wouldn't say embarrassment, but an embarrassment, especially when I didn't make the weight. You know what I mean?
Right.
So now I take it very serious. I'm on it. I'm on it. If I have to train 3 times a day, 4 times a day to make sure that weight gets off, so be it. It's my fault for letting that happen. Right?
Yeah.
It's my fault. So now and not only that too, if I don't make weight, it reflects on my team. Right? It's a one-man sport, but it's a team effort. So if I don't make weight, guess what? My team looks bad. And we often look at the boxer because he's the center of attention. But we can't forget that there's a team with me that's making me who I am, that's making me the fighter I am today that everybody sees. It's the team. It's a team effort. So when I get in there, I make sure to represent the team. And that's just what it is. I'm a big team player, man. And it's a reflection, right? I'm a reflection of them. They're a reflection of me as well.
Right.
Wilson, and Frank pointed out that Bernard Hopkins lost his pro debut. So you're actually in good company. Another guy who lost his pro debut, who became a legendary champion, is Juan Manuel Marquez. Just so you know.
Yeah. And I think there's another one too. But yeah, I heard of that Marquez.
So no looking back, because the sky's the limit still.
Who did he? Oh no! There's no looking back. Hey, if anybody asks me, I would rather take that first loss the way I did than to have as many fights as I do now and lose.
Right.
Right, and then learn those lessons
You know
maybe
what I'm
later on,
saying?
right? Like, exactly.
Yeah. Nah. I would rather, the way my career has played out for me, that's the best way. I learned from it, and as you can see, right, it's something that everybody is able to see. Wow, he learned from that very first fight. Look at him. He made weight. He never missed weight again, and he never lost fight again since. Well, never say never, but thank God.
That's
The
the plan,
working
though.
hard. I'm putting the work in.
Yeah.
I'm disciplined.
Right.
Plus, he never
You
fought
know?
again after. So, so it is what it is. Sometimes it's just something
And
that kind of.
and I highly believe, man. Yeah, and I highly believe, man. If I fight Miguel Ortiz again, man, it's gonna be a different story now. It's gonna be a different story now, because and at the time too, I was with the warrior mentality, like, oh, I don't care who steps in the ring, I'm crazy, I don't care, that I guess the street mentality. Who, and I came to realize that it's a business, man. It's a business, You gotta be able to build. Yeah, it woke me up. And I realized that, man, this is a business, and there's levels to this, man. Climb up little by little until you get to where you need to get to. That's why there's rankings.
That's right.
Right?
That's
I
right.
came out of nowhere, wanted to take the big dog. I came out of nowhere, wanted to take the big dog. It would have looked good too, though. But that didn't happen for me. So I was able to learn from it, and I'm still going. I'm happy. I'm proud. I'm
You're
content
doing
with
your
where I am today.
thing,
We're just gonna keep on
man.
moving forward.
You're an example. You're an example to a lot of people, and I know you get involved in the community. Speaking of the community, and we appreciate your time, man. I really appreciate the time you're taking out to speak with us. Any last words
No,
to your
thank you.
community, to the fans that are going to be coming out on the 23rd?
Hey, March 23rd, man. I hope to see the city there. I hope to see all my supporters and fans there. And you know, hey, just keep working to whatever you want to work on. Work. You know, whoever's out there to criticize you, they will still criticize you no matter what. Just keep on working, keep putting the work in, believe in yourself, and keep on striving. Never give up. Never give up. Never give up, man.
Awesome.
Believe in yourself.
Awesome.
That's the most important thing. And if you have people that believe in yourself, oh, that's 10 times even better. You're gonna see yourself flourish. And that's all, man. Thanks to everybody that's always been supporting me.
Yeah, absolutely. Nobody said it was going to be easy, right? You got to overcome those challenges. Definitely. Well, look, brother, best of luck on the 23rd. I will be there. It'll be great to talk to you afterwards and see, break down the fight together, and we'll go from there, man.
Absolutely. Thank you, man. I need to take that.
Got it, brother. Take care.
You guys have a good one, man. Champ, have a good one.
Good one.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.